So we know change efforts generally have a low success rate. And this is usually attributed to the pace and the complexity of change that organizations face in a VUCA world. New entrants are disrupting the way business is done regularly. So strategies are being blurred. The time horizon for implementation is now shorter. And product innovation is the norm rather than the exception. Customers are also more and more discerning and demanding and less loyal. So continuous transformation and change needs to happen in a way that assures organizations don't lose their competitive edge during change. Also, the complexity is exacerbated because most organizations are implementing many changes simultaneously. To remain competitive, organizations need to be, in my mind, change proficient, meaning they need to be able to change fast and often. They need to be change agile. They need to be resilient. Resilience absorbs the anxiety and stressors associated with simultaneous change. I often meet leaders and they claim that their teams are change fatigued and they slow the rate of change to avoid saturation and burnout. They do this at their peril because organizations should rather be focused on improving their change proficiency, where their change capability is integral to their competitiveness as a business. This is an age-old question. In my view, organizations should not consider an either-or approach, but rather adopt an and approach. Tapping into the synergies of both internal and external change consultants is a science and an art. When defining each of their roles and purpose, the benefits can be negated when organizations don't have clarity on the engagement model of the internal-external partnership. And whether an internal or external change consultant is beneficial really depends on various factors within an organization, such as the type of the organization, the structure, the size, the culture, and the nature and the scale of the change. Depending on all of these factors, the degree of involvement of the internal and external consultant may differ. Internal consultants bring insight into the history of the organization and previous change efforts. They can draw on the positives from past change and reflect on the lessons learned. This means that they hit the ground running on new change initiatives, whilst external consultants have the clarity of distance and are able to view change efforts from the past in an objective way. And they are able to hold up the mirror to an organization for effective reflection of previous change initiatives and hence prevent too much navel gazing. These synergies optimize change resources through the speed of insight of internal consultants and the clarity of objectivity brought by external consultants. In addition, internal consultants may lack change management knowledge and expertise to manage different types of change programs, whilst external consultants bring the best of breed practices. They have the depth of expertise and specialization through their broad exposure to a wide range of change programs. This enables them to evaluate the change competence and maturity within the organization and make recommendations accordingly. So organizations simultaneously obtain the benefit of external change management expertise on their change implementation, as well as they have the opportunity to upskill their internal change consultants. Internal consultants may lack the influence to successfully challenge executives and senior leadership, whilst external consultants have the independence that enables them to catalyze change and challenge mindsets that may be steeped in tradition and history. Therefore, this independence enhances decision-making, prioritization, and implementation of change. Internal consultants already have the trust and acceptance by the organization, whereas external consultants provide the necessary governance, aids the credibility of the change process, and where necessary, they're able to raise deficiencies without fear of reprisal. So jointly, they ensure that the roles of advocacy on the one hand and monitoring on the other hand are fulfilled. The internal consultant remains the organizational point of contact, the champion and the ambassador for the change program beyond the formal closeout. The external consultant assumes a coaching role to the internal change consultant beyond the formal closeout to ensure that the ROI and the long-term sustainability is achieved. This increases the likelihood of the change success, building the change management proficiency within the organization. Change management excellence is not a panacea to organizational competitiveness and success. However, analysis of failed change efforts indicates a root cause for failure is flawed change implementation. A partnering of internal and external change expertise can prevent this failure in implementation.